Stop thinking that you get to assume
Earn
that
our
you have
vote.
earn our vote. That's it.
Yep. And so I'll go back to another opinion of mine as well, right? So what he's saying is not wrong. It's not wrong at all. You should pick the politicians to represent you based on their policy, based on, you know, if you agree with them, based on your morals, your principles, what they stand for. Like, all of those things should be taken into consideration. Yes. And we should have like real choice in the matter, right? The problem is we have a two-party system. It is the biggest problem with our democracy right now. Him saying shop around, not shopping around. Like, yeah, you got primaries, right? You got the Democratic primary, you got the Republican primary in all of these districts and all these places. So that is you getting to shop around like he's talking about. But again, these parties are right now so split, so different sides of the aisle. Do you really think, and by all means, hit me up in the comments if you can find somebody that is a Republican that is going to agree with most progressive policies? Okay. Most Democratic centrist policies. What a Republican that would agree with that? And then flip the script. What Democrat is going to agree with more conservative policies? None. So when you're talking about shopping around, you've already picked a side anyway. You are looking for a Republican or you are looking for a Democrat. And yes, when they're doing the primaries, that's when you can shop around. But by the time they select their candidate for who's going to be running in the actual race, you're just going to stick with that candidate. You're not going to go over to the other side of the aisle and say, oh, all right, well, they're making some good points over there. Typically, because the party lines are so separated that there's not any nuance. There's not going to be like, oh, okay, both of these guys are making some good points. Both of the policies are very similar. No, the policies and the points are going to be completely opposite. They're just going to be completely opposite. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
First and foremost, thanks to everybody that's been subscribing to the channel. Obviously, I'm a new YouTuber, so it really means a lot. But when y'all are subscribing, y'all watching the videos, make sure y'all hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you would agree, disagree, hit me up with some questions. You know, since I'm a new YouTuber, I can get into the comments and engage with people, and I have no problem if you disagree, agree, whatever the case may be. But the comments definitely help to push out the videos. And if you are new to the channel, go ahead and take some time, hit that subscribe button. Don't cost you anything, and it helps me to continue to grow. Oh goodness. So for this video today, we're going to be reacting to a small portion of the Cam Newton, Stephen A. Smith interview, right? So for those of y'all that aren't aware, Stephen A. Smith sat down with Cam, talked about a lot of stuff, and he got into some of his views on politics and things of that nature. So I won't bury the lead with too much, but you know, I know Stephen A. Smith has said a lot of controversial things. That's kind of the nature of his rise to fame is you know, being loud, boisterous, and against the grain. He's not afraid to speak his mind, speak his opinion. Now that he's speaking a lot more about politics, I get like this feeling from him. I learned this, I didn't know that people were using this term, so I learned it recently about, they'll say a RINO, Republican in name only, right? So encouraging people to run as Republican, but still hold, more Democrat viewpoints and things of that nature, support those type of policies, but you run on the Republican ticket. Anyway, Stephen A. Smith Now that I know that term, reminds me of somebody that does that, but on the opposite end, right? I'm pretty sure he's on record as saying he's a Democrat, but a lot of the things that he said are contrary to that, in my opinion. So I guess by nature of the, you know, the whole RINO analogy, that would make him a dino? What? Democrat in name only? Whatever. But with that being said, we're going to get into the video. We're going to hear what he has to say. I'm sure I'm going to disagree with it. One point key in particular, and I think he gets into it pretty early on in the video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about it.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for.
When I see people, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about betrayal. You in my life, I got love for you, we tight, and you gonna say shit like I betrayed the black community? They talking about me with this politics shit. I can show you a speech that I gave in 2007, right before Obama took office. In 2010 at Vanderbilt University, I said, listen to this quote, politics. I wish for one election that every black person would vote Republican.
You are really dumb.
What? How can you say that? I said, it's simple. Since 1964, the black folks, we have been giving our vote to the Democratic Party at an exorbitant rate. Therefore, they know they got our vote, and they don't have to cater to us as much as we need them to. The Republicans know they'll never get our vote, so they don't give a damn about us. And as a result, we're the only community in America devoid of representation, which is why we're considered disenfranchised.
All right. So before he keeps going with this whole bullshit line of talking, because it, even in his statement, right? And, you know, forgive me if I don't get it verbatim. He says, black people have historically, you know, for as long as I've been alive, right, given our vote to Democrats. So they don't really have to work for our vote. I think that by itself is an accurate statement. I think by and large, black people will vote for Democratic candidates. But there's definitely a lot more to it. But let's go on to the rest of his statement. So he started it by saying he wishes for one election that all black people will vote Republican. You said that Democrats don't do enough to earn our vote. They automatically assume that they're going to get our vote, so they don't do enough. Republicans actively show us they don't give a shit about us and that they are against most things that would help out the black community. Hell, like, you know what I'm saying? They go on like they make things that we hold near and dear to the black community as talking points of things that they're going to target and they're going to get rid of, right? And that's just talking broadly. Like, we can get into the specifics of what this administration has done since they came into power in 2024. But the audacity of him to say just vote Republican when they're actively against everything we stand for, making us the enemy. Like, and I'm not just talking about politicians, we're talking about their influencers and all these things, all these people that they don't make it a point to distance themselves from them, or just come out and outright say, hey, these people that support us, we don't believe the same way they do. Like, talking about racism, white nationalists, Nazis, you name it, right? All these discriminatory groups, they never come out and say, hey, no, we don't rock with any of the stuff they talking about. We are against that. We don't condone any of that type of rhetoric, any of that type of behavior. What they do is they use coded language because they know they cannot win without that support. They can't afford to alienate that part of their base, right? So instead of coming out and saying, hey, we don't agree with this, and denouncing these people, that behavior, all that. They use coded language to say, hey, I didn't say anything negative about this group of people. I just left it broad and open-ended to where it's like, hey, I'm not coming down on any one group of my followers. I'm just talking broadly so as not to target anyone. So that way they can keep that support. And this is who he's saying, hey, I wish black people would vote for them.
Brother,
Conservatives are fine with cozying up to racist, right? It is what it is. That movement has realized that they need those people in order to win elections. And so they don't want to upset that group of people. Stephen A would have you vote for them anyway. Voting for the same people that hate you and wish death upon you and want to treat you like lesser. You know what I'm saying? They want to go back to old days where you were not an equal to them. I'm just saying, shit like this really, really grinds my gears because, and yes, I said grind my gears. Because I didn't have a problem with Republicans beforehand. I have no problem disagreeing and getting into debate, and we disagree on policy, we disagree on how to go about things. But if you can't denounce these types of people, you know who I'm talking about when I say these things. You know the policies I'm talking about. You know the things that have been done since these folks came into office to intentionally negatively affect black and brown people. But even talking broader terms, it's not just black, it's black and brown people, all sorts of minority groups. But again, Stephen A uses the language to try and cover the base and not upset anybody that is conservative. And I think if he was really about, look, I can't force him to say what I believe as far as, his views and things like that. But if he really wanted to hold true to uplifting the black community, as he was just talking about, then I think he uses words for a living. I think he would be more careful with how he speaks. I am of the firm belief that if he is not already getting paid by someone, that it's coming up in the future, or he's going to run for the presidency, and he may run as a Democrat, but again, he would be running as a Democrat in name only. Rant over. Let's get back to the video.
Not bad, not bad. Now you.
I'm tired of that. What I want is to put ourselves as a community in a position where both parties have to work to get our vote.
Can I ask you this? Do you think you covering politics like you cover politics, in the words of your mans, is that good for business, your business?
It has the potential not to be. We'll have to see. So far it is. I think I'm doing pretty good. So far it is, but it has the potential.
For those of y'all that, are new to my channel, obviously I'm a new channel, so I don't expect everybody to have seen all the videos I've done. I am of the firm belief that currently there's a lot more money in regurgitating or promoting conservative talking points and doing content that is going to reach that base and engage with that base and keep them watching. So to Cam's question, of course Stephen A is going to be doing well if he's cozying up to not just conservatives, but potentially MAGA conservatives, because he doesn't say anything that, saying that side of the aisle is going to just be like, oh, wait, nah, I can't mess with Stephen A. He says more to push away Democratic voters or put Democratic voters on edge than he does say, anything negative. Even when he talks about Trump, even if he's trying to be critical about Trump, he'll say that everyone else needs to cater to or kind of kowtow or bend the knee to him in order to progress policies and things like that. And you know, to a certain extent, that is part of politics, being able to come to some sort of compromise. But in this day and age, this current administration, how they've been operating, what they've been doing, it should definitely be adversarial. There's no real compromise with the way they've been doing things. And so when Stephen A is talking about stuff like that, it just seems disingenuous. But at the same time, he'll do something performative and walk off a stage after making a point. You know, when he did that whole thing with the debate, or he wasn't doing a debate, but he was on a panel and they were talking politics. But yeah, it just seems a lot of performance. I don't know if he's going to run in 2028, but he's definitely going to dip his toe in politics in some way, shape, or form soon.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Not to be, but here's the point. Cam, if I thought like that, I'd never be here. There's plenty of decisions over the years I could have made that would have been good for business. But I had the courage to tackle the issues that I felt passionate enough to attack. That's what makes me me.
Now, no, I like where you at, because similar to you covering politics, it's almost similar for what does an athlete have the credentials to speak about other sports. For the record, why are you even speaking about politics? Like, what goes into the thought of like why from all your shows are your platforms, you have a show that's dedicated to politics?
Okay, so before I answer that question,
You know good and goddamn well why he doing it, Cam. Why you playing, what would they say, willfully obtuse?
Check this out, though. First of all, you throwing too many big words at me. Okay, now, because I don't understand them, I'm going to take them as disrespect.
Why are you playing like you don't know why he's doing it? Like he's making a play for politics, and like I said, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's Congress, Senate, presidency, he is working his way into this realm.
let me close what I was saying by saying this. I said that not to discourage people to vote for Democrats or anything like that. What I'm saying is, if Cam wanted to buy this property, do you walk in, I'll give it to you, how much you want? Or do you investigate and find different spots and compare prices and see what better deal you're gonna get? Same thing if you're buying a car, same thing if you're buying a house. You're saying flatter me. Flatter me. What I'm saying I said it back then, flatter us. Stop thinking that you get to assume that you have earn our vote. That's it.
Yeah, and so I'll go back to another opinion of mine as well, right? So what he's saying is not wrong. It's not wrong at all. You should pick the politicians to represent you based on their policy, based on, if you agree with them, based on your morals, your principles, what they stand for. Like, all of those things should be taken into consideration, yes. And we should have like real choice in the matter, right? The problem is we have a two-party system. It is the biggest problem with our democracy right now. Him saying shop around, not shopping around. Like, yeah, you got primaries, right? You got the Democratic primary, you got the Republican primary in all of these districts and all these places. So that is you getting to shop around like he's talking about. But again, these parties are right now so split, so different sides of the aisle. Do you really think, and by all means, hit me up in the comments if you can find somebody that is a Republican that is going to agree with most progressive policies? Okay. Most Democratic centrist policies. What a Republican that would agree with that? And then flip the script. What Democrat is going to agree with more conservative policies? None. So when you're talking about shopping around, you've already picked a side anyway. You've already picked a side anyway. You are looking for a Republican or you are looking for a Democrat. And yes, when they're doing the primaries, that's when you can shop around. But by the time they select their candidate for who's going to be running in the actual race, you're just going to stick with that candidate. You're not going to go over to the other side of the aisle and say, oh, all right, well, they're making some good points over there. Typically, because the party lines are so separated that there's not any nuance. There's not going to be like, oh, okay, both of these guys are making some good points. Both of the policies are very similar. No, the policies and the points are going to be completely opposite. They're just going to be completely opposite. So I get, like I said, in the base form of the argument, yes, I would love it if we just got to window shop and hell, I get to walk down, walk to a town hall and all the candidates were there at a town hall and just they would be there for hours and all their constituents are just walking through and asking them all questions. Like, hey, well, how do you feel about, education or, federal funding for education or healthcare for all or higher education, free college for all? Like, how do you feel about these specific things? And this, that, and the third. Like, we just go down the laundry list of whatever is important to you, and you get to ask these representatives what they think about all these issues. And then you make your decision whether or not you're going to vote for them based off of that. But like I said, man, he's being disingenuous by painting the argument that way because he knows good and well that it's not that simple. It's a lot more nuanced than that. And yeah, the two-party system is the problem with this. We'll let him make one more point and then we're gonna stop the video. I don't want to keep y'all for the whole thing, but y'all gotta make sure if y'all want to see the whole thing, go to Cam Newton's the interview.
That's all I'm saying, and that's what I stand on to this very day. Now back to your point. When you sit up there and you talk about politics and stuff like that, Cam, I'm a teenager growing up in Hollis, Queens. At 11 o'clock at night, The Odd Couple came on, that former comedy show. Clean, Felix Unger and Oscar Madison. The Honeymooners came on at 11:30. And at around 11:45 or so, midway through The Honeymooners, Ted Koppel for News Nightline would come on ABC. Do you know I wouldn't go to sleep until I watched Ted Koppel? Do you know that I would go home every night and watch Peter Jennings' ABC World News Tonight? Do you know that on Sunday mornings I would watch Meet the Press with Tim Russert? And I would watch the political shows? I've always been fascinated by politics. The Super Bowl, to me, outside of the Super Bowl, there is nothing that I love more than presidential debates. I'm talking about me getting, in my case, cheese doodles, not popcorn. Okay? I'm talking, in my case, I'm talking about the cheese doodles, the little snacks, and I'm watching the debate. That's how I always knew I would.
Look, I'm not about to watch this whole rant that he goes on where he says that, ultimately he would love to be on the debate stage with any of these folks and be able to go back and forth with them, which I think is also a slow play to say, I would enjoy engaging in that field and, maybe, if I feel the calling or whatever, then I'll do it. I think it's a slow roll. I think like I said, I think he's going to end up, coming out in some way, shape, or form, getting into politics. He's already done enough to at least be. It's going to be somebody that is, whether he decided to run as a Republican or as a Democrat, he's enough of a name that he's definitely going to shake things up, stir the pot a little bit. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Y'all hit me up in the comments. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it, what old Stephen A had to say. If y'all agree, y'all disagree, yeah, make sure y'all, I don't care about everybody agreeing with me and all that stuff. I'm just giving y'all my take. But if y'all learned something from the video, definitely share it with your people. Like I said, y'all want to see the whole thing, go to Cam's channel. But yeah, Keep the information flowing. Keep the conversation going. And until next time, I'll holla at you.
Think you wanna be my enemy? I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy winning, I forgot that I got friends.